Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Jonathan Trop. I'm pleased to welcome everybody to the January 9th, 2025 meeting of EDIT. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So, um, I guess as a first order of business, I will call our meeting to order at 7:33 p.m. And as a second order of business, I will invite you all to join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
Flag
United
of the
States of
United States of
America
America,
and to the
and to the
republic for
republic
which it
for which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation, under
nation,
God,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty
indivisible,
and
with liberty
justice
and
for
justice
all.
for all.
By way of roll call, uh, members of EDIT participating in addition to myself are David Rosenberg, Richard Bolton, Chris Powell, and Shala Fleming. We are joined by the Town Council Liaison, Jennifer Winchell, Town Attorney, Jim Cordone, our clerk, who knows her own name, and uh, moving on. Correspondence. Uh, I'm not aware of any correspondence received by EDIT since our last meeting. Uh, Next up on the agenda, would anybody like to make a motion to approve the minutes of our meeting of December 19, 2024?
I move
Make
to
a
approve the minutes.
second.
All right, any discussion? I did not check. Bear with me a second. Everybody who is here was there. We can all vote. All in favor? The minutes are unanimously approved. Thank you. Uh, Moving on to old business. With respect to the diversity training update, I think it was reported last month that we were in the process of trying to schedule a meeting with Mr. McCarthy and the uh, presenter whom we had selected as a preferred presenter. In light of the lateness in the month of our meeting last month, the holidays that then followed, and our movement of our meetings from the third Thursday to the second Thursday, which means that our meeting this year was very early. I have not been able to progress that as much as I would like. Shala, you have a question or a comment or a criticism?
I just was checking on the agenda. I may have missed it, but did we do correspondence and public comment?
Oh, I apologize. We did do correspondence. I did not do public comment. Thank you.
Okay.
Um, I'll go back to that. Uh, Bill, is there any member of the public who would like to address us?
That is great, Chair. Great question, Mr. Chairman. If there's any member of the public who would like to speak, please press the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen. Oh, here we go. Ms. Cooper, I'll bring you in as panelist.
Ms. Cooper, you're on mute.
Hi, good
So-
afternoon. I would like to introduce myself as a member of the Trumbull community, first time joining this meeting, and interested to see what this group has to say in regards to diversity, equity, and inclusion. I represent a group in my professional life.
Ms. Cooper, under the rules that we operate under, at least as best I understand them, would you please state your address?
Oh, sure. Yes, 24 Long Meadow Road, Trumbull, Connecticut.
Thank you. I'm sorry to have interrupted you. Please continue.
No worries. I just wanted to introduce myself to this forum. It's my first time joining this meeting.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to do that, and thank you very much for your comment.
Thank you.
Bill, I think if there's anybody else, you can let us know.
Does not appear that there are any other attendees wishing to make comment.
Okay, so we'll go back to the agenda. I'll invite any comment on my brief update on the diversity training initiative, if there is any. Okay. I will do my very best to advance that between today and our next meeting. I'm quite confident I should be able to do that. Next up is the book club, and that is scheduled, as you all know, for March 24th at 6 p.m. at the Trumbull Library. We'll be reading The Good Immigrant. I have acquired a copy, and I look forward to reading it. The thing that we tabled, I'm using that term loosely, last month was publicity for the event. We recognized that heading into the holidays and the new year was probably not a good time to try to call attention to things that were, but now that we're on the other side of that hump, I think it makes sense to try to put together a flyer, get the word out in social media, let the Trumbull Times know, and give people a chance to start to read the book. Is there anybody who would be willing and able to take on the task that Jen Pacelli performed for us so ably the last time and put together a little flyer? All right, well, seeing no volunteers, I think what I will do is find a way to get that done in the next week or so and get that underway. Is there any further comment on the book club? Okay. Next up on the agenda, we have two Black History Month events that we are anticipating. One is the price of a ticket and the director talkback for that movie to be shown on February 2nd, 2025 at 2 p.m. at the Trumbull Library. Same issue, we need to get some publicity done. I'm going to assume the same level of ability to do it, and so I will try to find a way to get that done for us. The other program that we have discussed is a possible Nero Hawley program to be conducted with the Trumbull Historical Society. There we did make slight progress, which is to say that we scheduled a meeting.
There you
The
go.
bad news is that the meeting was scheduled for a time that conflicted with this one, and so we've had to move it. We'll get that rescheduled and try to advance that. Jennifer, do you want to add anything to that discussion?
No, I eagerly await that meeting. No.
Okay. Any comment on the Black History Month events that are on our agenda? Okay. Shala.
Sorry, yes. I was just going to suggest that I believe Kathleen has maybe made some of our advertisements previously. I might be remembering wrong, but maybe we can work with Kathleen at the library to see about generating the flyer for that.
That's a good.
It's a good suggestion for the book club event. I don't know if she's done that, but maybe. I appreciate that. We'll still be on our own for, well, she might also do it for the movie. So excellent suggestion. She
Yeah.
actually has some talent, so I'll reach out to her. That's great. Thank you.
It's a very good idea.
Next up on the agenda is the discussion of the Education Department's DEI initiatives. At our last meeting, I had agreed to undertake to reach out to Dr. Semmel, seeking to schedule a meeting with the district and school leadership committees or their designees and members of EDIT to talk about the school's DEI initiatives. I did reach out to Dr. Semmel, and I did receive a response. The response substantively was to say that Dr. Semmel was happy to share with us that the school system has received word from the State Department of Education that our increasing educator diversity plan was fully approved by uses the acronym SDE. I apologize, I don't know what that is, but I suspect there are people in this meeting who do. And then he said that the district is in the process of getting the plan placed on the website as required, and beginning the stay interviews that were part of the district improvement plan and our increasing educator diversity plan. So that's good news on those fronts. He has not responded to the portion of the request that sought a meeting. And so I have asked him nicely if that can be arranged. And I will report back when I hear from him. Are there any questions or comments on that? Okay. Next up on our agenda is the townwide survey that we had agreed to undertake, and there were a couple of us who were going to try to do a little bit of design work. I know that we've had a very short interval between meetings and the same holidays that I described earlier, but the folks who undertook that assignment have anything to report?
Rick and I have agreed that we are going to spend a little bit of time sort of independently researching and considering what we might use to generate the survey. And so by the time we meet next, we will have a more concrete update for you all.
Okay. Any other discussion? Oh, Rick,
No, I'm saying that's exactly what Charlie and I agreed to do. So.
Okay. Any other discussion on that topic?
I do. What are people's perceptions in terms of the scope of this survey? I mean, are we looking for something that's, 3 questions or something that's going to be a little more in depth? What are people's thoughts in terms of what your expectations are of what we're going to try and produce?
A solid question. I have a couple of thoughts, but I'll open it up for discussion among other members of the committee first. David, you're on mute if you're pulling the mic down.
Just unmuting. Yeah, I don't. The only reaction I have to that question, Rick, is that if we've got enough people's attention for those who would want to fill out the questionnaire I wouldn't overwhelm them, but I don't think it should be like 2 or 3 questions. Like this is an opportunity to get them. If someone's going to be motivated enough to respond to 3 questions, likely they may be motivated to respond to 8 or 10. Like this would be a great opportunity to potentially use this as, once you kind of got your foot in the door, kind of go for it.
Mm-hmm. Right,
Chris, did you want to add?
No, I mean, I can't say that, this is my life's work, but, I did run market research for a $1 billion company not that long ago. It was actually many years ago, but I professionally had to create a lot of surveys for various purposes, mostly about, alcoholic beverages, which doesn't connect very well to what we're dealing with, but it's at least some experience. There is an absolute negative correlation between the length of a survey and the quantity of participation. Bottom line, the longer you make it, the fewer people are going to fill it out.
Yeah, I take that point, but it is also true that there is an inverse correlation between the length of the survey and how much you learn from those who do fill it out.
Right. It's just that it's sort of axiomatic that, be careful about how long you make something, because yes, the more in depth you make it, the more you will learn. But the longer you make it, the fewer people, the fewer respondents you're going to get. I mean, it's kind of like sun comes up in the east kind of rule.
Also the format. Like if there are 7 essay questions, you're going to get a lot less involvement than 7 multiple choice questions.
Absolutely. The complexity is, inverse to the quantity of participation. So I'm just trying to get some sense in terms of what this group thinks, should be about the scale of what we're going to produce.
Yeah. Chris, did you want to add? You had turned on your video. I didn't know if you had a comment you wanted to make or not.
No comment. I just needed to step away for a bit, but I agree with what everyone has said. I mean, I'm not too particularly knowledgeable about this topic, but from what I heard, these seem like good ideas.
Okay, so I'll share my view, which is similar to David's, and I think Rick, consistent with the concern you're expressing, I think we make a mistake to send out a survey that is 100 questions. I think we make a mistake to send out a survey that is filled with essay prompts, but I also think we make a mistake to miss the opportunity or to use the opportunity without seeking some feedback. And so I will defer to you and your experience and your analysis when you do it. But for my 2 cents, I would think that a well-designed survey, maybe with some flow, so that some people who answer questions certain ways might get a little bit of follow-up, and others might not get those questions, might be a useful design, and that survey that has somewhere between 8 and 12 base questions and no more than a total of 20 might be a clever design.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. If you go past 20, you're in the realm of a phone survey that's trying to keep you on the line for more than 10 minutes.
I think this survey should be able to be answered by someone being thoughtful in 10 minutes or less.
I would agree that if you break that barrier, you probably have gone too far. Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts just in terms of what your expectations are?
Okay. Any further discussion? All right, moving on. Standing item is coverage in the Trumbull Times. We do now have these events that are in the near horizon, and I will share them with the Trumbull Times in the hope of having them get the word out. Any other comment on that agenda item? All right. We have no new business on the agenda. Is there anything else that anybody would like to discuss this evening? All right. I hope Ms. Cooper enjoyed her first and very brief meeting. We do often meet for at least a little bit longer than this, but I thank her for her interest, and I thank everybody for their participation. I look forward to our next meeting when I think we will have perhaps made a little bit of progress on some of the items that we have discussed this evening. And unless there's anything else from anybody, I would invite a motion.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That one carries unanimously. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.